Good afternoon out there to my listening audience. You are tuned into the hottest show to hit the airwaves this season, and it is WomanTo Woman, the show made for women, by women. And I just want to welcome you and thank you for tuning in. And today, as the holiday season approaches and we go about our hustling and bustling lifestyles, we're going to talk about stress overload, okay? Stress overload. And unfortunately, even though this is the time of year for us to celebrate Christ's birth, this is also the time of year that the stress level seems to increase for many persons. So what I'm going to do right now is I just want to again welcome you to WomanTo Woman. And just to let you know that this show was created to provide an outlet for women to just empower one another, for us to share our ideas, to discuss the different topics and aspects of our lives, and ultimately to inspire one another to live a life of peace and fulfillment. So we're hoping that WomanTo Woman can provide yet another pathway to mental freedom for you, my sisters listening. I am Chrishna, Bowe, the host for your show today, and I'm a recently published author of a book called WomanTo Woman, We've Been Duped. Now, this book seeks to, again, do the same as the show, and it seeks to allow women to recognize, analyze, and truly optimize your life. So if you're interested in purchasing a copy, it can make a beautiful Christmas gift for that lady in your life, be it your mom, your wife, your friend, just any woman. This book caters to women from all walks of life. So you can purchase it at Bethel's bookstores here locally. If you're in Nassau and you'd like to get a copy, you can purchase it at Logo's bookstore. And for all of you avid e-readers, it is available on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. I can't go any further without thanking my awesome sponsors today. And as usual, I want to say a shout out to Simply the Best, your best multimedia company ever. Okay, Simply the Best is a true believer in this WomanTo Woman show. And if you're looking for that video to be produced, commercial to be produced, if you're looking for your wedding to be filmed, funeral to be filmed, depositions, whatever it is you need, Simply the Best over there in the Mayport building has it. Also, I'd like to say a special thank you to Hair Dimensions. And Hair Dimensions, ladies, is the place to bring your hair to life, okay? They are located there on Coral Road at 351-1082. And remember, they have all of your Remy, your wigs, all of your extensions, ladies. They have your hair products, your skin products, your cosmetics, and so much more. So check them out. And finally, we have B&B Galaxy Waste Management. And that's Carol and her crew down there on Oak Street. We want to say shout out to them. Their number is 352-7869. And B&B is the place to go if you're having that corporate function or that private function and you'd like an elite portable toilet, fully equipped with foot flush and face basins, then B&B is definitely the way to go, okay? That is also known as a Johnny on the spot. They are also available for pumping of all residential and commercial properties. So once again, I want to thank you, and I want to extend an invitation to anyone listening who would really like to hear more about WomanTo Woman. Everything takes cash, my friends. And this show is no exception. So if you're listening and if you've been enjoying the show, I invite you to become a part of our sponsorship program and to really support the empowerment of our Grand Bohemian women by being a sponsor for the show. Now, of course, as you know, if you want to call in and join the discussion, you are free to do so. The number here is 351-6176. Again, 351-6176. And what I'm going to do today is I'm actually going to refer very closely to a chapter in my book, and it is called Stress Overload, and it's actually chapter 21 in my book. So I'm going to really give you a lot of the information that I actually have in the book. And I want to start off by sharing a scripture with you. So, in reference to stress overload, Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. Okay? That is the first thing we need to remember is God's word. And as it relates to stress, we need to keep in mind that with God's help, we can do anything. Now, and I'm going to start reading from the book, and it says, okay, just saying, the word stress alone puts my mind into overdrive. I don't know about my listening audience, but just the word stress gets me thinking, oh my goodness, I'm stressed. You know, we have all been there. If we're living this life, then we have experienced moments of stress or at some points longer periods of stress. So we know that, hey, we're stressed. In a way, you know, I'm a little stressed today. So I'm actually in that place myself today. And, you know, I'm there several times a week sometimes. So, you know, stress is that point when you say in your head, if not aloud, oh my goodness, I am going to lose it. And ladies, do you sometimes feel like you're going to lose it? Because I sure do. You know, the book says being a woman of God in these times is challenging. And when you're trying to do all that you should and more, the stress can become unbearable. I've got news for you. You are not a superwoman. I know you've heard me say this tons of times on this show, but ladies, I mean, it is so true, and that's why I keep repeating it, because I'm encouraging you to really, look at it very differently. You are not a superwoman. And if you're not a superwoman, then the book says, oh my, how do you keep it together? And I have one response. Oh, Lord, God, only God. And I tell you, sometimes I get to wondering, and I think I may have mentioned it to one or two of my girlfriends this week. I really wonder, for those of you that do not have the Lord in your life, what happens when you are in stress overload, when you feel like your life is in such turmoil? I mean, where do you turn? But, you know, for those of us who are in the Lord and are believers, we can turn to God. You know, sometimes I don't even know how we women do the things we do and operate normally. I just don't know. You know, my mother always used to say a woman's work is never done. And she is certainly correct. I always tell my friends, you know, we have not full-time jobs. We have full-time jobs. Because the thing about being a mom and being a wife, you're never off duty. The clock never stops running. And, you know, I wanted to address stress because I know we're thick into the holidays now. I can even see the traffic on the streets in little old Freeport. I mean, the hustle and bustle has began. You know, we're thinking about the gifts now. For those of you who haven't gotten anything, you're thinking, oh my, Christmas is next week and I haven't purchased anything. So the pressure is mounting. And so that is why I wanted us to really look at, what stress overload can do to us as individuals and as women. Okay, so that is what we're gonna do. And as I said before, God is our greatest resource when we are trying to manage our stress. Philippians 4:19 says, "But my God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus." So, if you feel like, oh, I'm just gonna lose it right now, okay, breathe. Take a moment, say a prayer, read a scripture, or play your favorite gospel CD, something that inspires you to relax and to kind of wind down, if only for a few minutes. You know, God gives us that wisdom to know when we are approaching that breaking point. And when you feel like, wow, I am just so stressed, you know, you need to take a moment, or it may require even a couple of hours. So this would be the opportune time for you to plan some me time that you can look forward to. You know, even if you can't take it at that moment, you can say on the weekend, look here, I'm going to go with my girls. I'm going to have me a good time. Or I'm just going to go on the beach, lay out, get a tan, whatever it is that floats your boat, then you can plan to do that, you know. I like to think of stress in this way, and it reminds me of our kids. You ever notice when your children get tired, you know, they start to get so cranky and so irritable. And, you know, we are no different. We all need rest. And if you don't take a time out, my sister, then you will be burnt out, okay? So just like we do with the kids, sometimes we just need a time out. We all need it. Rest is a precious gift given by God, and he knew that we needed it even before he created us. So we must learn to cast our care upon him, and we must learn to look at whether or not we are getting sufficient rest. You know, it sounds frivolous, but, Experts say that, listen, your body requires a minimum of 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night for your cells to regenerate and for you to really be rejuvenated and revived. We take these things for granted. Even during this Christmas season, we get so caught up in the many things that we have to do that we do not allot time to rest and to get proper sleep, even for our children. So I caution you, do not run yourself into the ground. Get your rest. Okay? And what I'm saying is actually scientific. It's scientifically proven that the body, in order for it to operate at full capacity, needs between 7 to 8 hours of rest. Whatever your daily routine, get your rest. All right? And then, as godly women, we sometimes allow society, as I always, and this is my pet peeve, that in many, many aspects of our life, we always allow society to say to us how we should live, how we should go about our day-to-day living. And we allow society, in this case, to mandate our schedules. We do what we think is supposed to be done, and we end up overloading ourselves. Remember, you do not have to do everything all the time. And what is so bad, and it's such a negative aspect to stress and being overloaded with stress, I can find, it's a joy and a peace killer. That's what I like to call it, a joy and a peace killer. And what I mean by that is you get so stressed that, before you know it, the joy is sapped out of your life. You're just exhausted. You can't even take the time to appreciate what's going on. And then you're always on the go, always on the go, always on the hustle, always on the hustle. And as a result, you have no peace. And, Satan is laughing at us. He's saying, I got him where I want him now, because once he steals your joy and your peace, then you know what? Life does not become all that enjoyable for you anymore. So that's one of the negative aspects of being stressed out. And we really have to make a conscious effort to manage our stress properly, because you don't want to be walking around with no joy, with no peace, just, irritable, grouchy, miserable. And then, you go into the physical hazards of being stressed out all the time. And again, these are proven scientifically. You got the hypertension, you got a flu, you got a cold, you stay, you stay with your pressure being high. Then, diabetes. There's so many chronic illnesses that actually can occur as a result of stress. Even, illnesses such as cancer, the doctors say it can be aggravated by stress. So we really need to remember, too, that stress really has a negative physical impact on our bodies as well. Okay? Life is to be enjoyed. God never ever intended for us to walk around just stressed out all the time, just living a life just totally stressed out. Women are not designed to work on stress overload. In fact, I don't think anybody is really. But, a woman is not designed to work on stress overload. You find that you get really grumpy, you get wretched, you get miserable, you're mad with everybody around you for all the things that you're doing. Not that it's their fault, mind you, because you don't know how to say no. But, you get exhausted. And then even our children and our husbands and our friends become the brunt of our irritability, because we can't focus. Ecclesiastes 2:26 says, for God giveth to a man that is good in his sight, wisdom and knowledge and joy. So if God gives you joy and your joy has been taken away, then you know that Satan is at work, right? But to the sinner he giveth travail, to gather and to heap up, that he may give to him that is good before God. Okay, and that's Ecclesiastes 2:26. And when Satan steals our joy, we don't even realize it. Okay, he is described in the Bible as a joy killer. And, he uses that stress to just chip away ever so slowly at our sense of peace and our peace of mind, okay? At this point, we're just going to break real quick. Again, if you're interested in adding your 2 cents to the show, I welcome your thoughts. And if there's a question that you have as it relates to what we're discussing today, I welcome that. You can call at 351-6176. Again, the number to call is 351-6176. We are going to break, and we will be right back. I want to say Merry Christmas to my listening audience, and I pray God's blessings, because it's Christmas time, a time for us to be happy, a time for us to enjoy fun with family and friends, And unfortunately, it's also a time to be stressed out. Hence our topic for today, which is stress overload. And prior to the break, I had spoken about, some of the pitfalls of stress overload and how it can be a joy and a peace killer, and how we as women, we're really not designed to work on stress overload all the time, because that is not what God has for our lives. Too much stress can make a woman very angry and irritable. And what it does is it causes our family and friends who are in our presence to suffer, because we snap at them, we're like a pistol fully loaded, like my sister liked to say. And the minute somebody say, boo, bop, we're off, just offloading all of that pent up stress that we have. By managing our stress load, we can be happier, and our family and friends will benefit as a result of this. So, be careful, because stress affects us in so many ways that we don't even think about it. I mean, and I hate to say this, and I don't want you women to think that I'm chauvinistic, because, hey, I am a woman, I'm awesome, I'm beautiful. I believe that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. But for some reason, men seem to be able to handle stress better to me. We're all, we are emotionally driven creatures, and this does not change when it comes to the stress level. Sometimes, I'm all stressed out, and boy, I'm looking over at my husband, and look, yeah, he ain't even checking. And I'm like, man, how do you do that? Aren't you stressed? But men have a way of coping a bit better with stress. And it's just not the same for most women. So, we cannot run any races with these guys. Let them do them and let us do us. Okay? Contrary to what society says, women are not running races with men. We all have our different roles to play. So there's no reason to be in competition with a man as to the amount of stress or the amount of things that you feel like you need to pack into your day. And I spoke briefly about no, but I'm going to come back to that again. No is a word that we need to use, and we should use many times, because it's up to us, ladies. We must take responsibility for what is going on in our lives. And, I'm going to tell you a painful, harsh truth. If you don't take responsibility for yourself and try to ensure that you don't go to the loony bin, sweetie, no one else is going to do it, okay? And this is nothing against husbands. This is nothing against children. But, God has made us all inherently selfish. And at the end of the day, if we don't watch it, even those that we love around us can really stress us out. So, women, we have to take responsibility. And that is something that I like to say a lot. We must take responsibility for our lives, okay? So, use that word no if you must, and use it in a very loving manner. I have a caller on the line, so welcome to Woman, caller. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, my love.
Oh, thank you.
I just want to ask you a question about the stress. You say about being so stressful. Do you think that when you're stressful, the more sex you have, the less stress you'll have?
Oh, guess what? Now, I don't know.
Listen to your question and answer.
Yes, I'm going to answer. Thank you so much. That's a very interesting question. And I actually believe, caller, that you have a point with that. Because definitely for the men, definitely biologically that is proven to be true. Sex definitely can alleviate some stress. Now, it's not a miracle pill or a miracle worker. However, I do know that for men, sex can help to alleviate some of their stress, and that is a fact. Now, I think for some women, I don't see why it wouldn't work both ways. Now, I don't know the biology on the women's side, but I would dare to say that some good love making during a very stressful time definitely can hurt you. So, hey, why not? Hey, go ahead. Sometimes it actually does the opposite, and it can tear us apart. And I think that it's actually a good idea to ensure that even amidst a stressful situation, we are continuing to have a physically active sex life. So, that's a very good point, caller. So thank you for that. And, Merry Christmas and have fun with that, okay? All right. So, as Christian mothers and wives, we do tend, and even for those of us who are not Christians, we do tend to take care of everyone but ourselves. You know what I mean? And this is where we really have the issue, because we really put ourselves on the back burner, and we need to not do that so much. Even though our children are very important and everything around us is very important, we do need at some point to take a little time for ourselves, just to, like Mommy them used to say, to catch yourself. Sometimes you just need to catch yourself. So, don't feel guilty about doing it, because guess what? That's what used to happen to me. And I dare to say, in some instances, it still does. You do a little something that's totally selfish, like that's totally for you. And you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm eating this nice big chocolate cake and I'm not giving the kids any of it. Or I'm going to eat it before I pick them up from school so they don't know. Right? So and you actually feel guilty. So, we need to fight that. And we need to do a better job of taking care of ourselves. Life is a process for us all. And ultimately, we are the ones in control of many aspects of our lives. It is our responsibility to recognize when the stress is too high and to take steps to alleviate it. We need to not only recognize it, but we need to do something about it and be intentional about the steps that we need to take to ensure that our stress load is not too high. I know this can be difficult because I think we also have that pride going on. And deep down, we don't want to say, oh, I can't do that. Or I can't do this. Or I can't be this to that person. We acknowledge it. We look at it and we say, oh, we don't want anyone to think that we are weak, or that, that we can't handle our life. That we want everybody to think we're Miss Perfect. And somewhere deep down inside us, we want to think that we are Miss Perfect. So, we get to thinking that to admit that we need help, or that, listen, I can't do this today. To do that, we get to thinking, oh, wow, I am, I'm not a great mother, or I'm not a good person. And that's just not the case. So we need to abolish that mindset, okay? Abolish it. Take that out of your mind so that you can start to live a less stressed life, okay? In some cases, we have no one to blame for the stress but ourselves, because this is what we do. We set impossible standards. We act as if we got the big S on our chest and, like we're Superwoman or something. And we really, really, we have a schedule so tight. Mind you, I got a tight schedule today myself. But we're talking about doing this on a consistent basis. We have a schedule so tight that we don't even have a moment to breathe. So we set these impossible standards of how we should operate, and listen, my sisters, my wonderful women out there, realize that it is okay not to be perfect. It is okay not to have the house spick and span every day of your life. It is okay to ask your husband sometimes to deal with the children, some afternoons if you just need to get a little rest. It is okay to say to yourself, you know what, I just cannot handle my career and motherhood right now. I'm going to take a break from work. It is okay to have a girls' night out without the husband and children. So my sisters, it is okay to not be a super mom, or a super wife, or a super friend, or a super church member all at once. Because guess what? You are only human. And you can only do so much without totally burning yourself out, okay? So just remember that. But unfortunately, the trap that we women get caught in is the belief that we must always please everyone. It's an impossible standard. And God never intended it for it to be this way. We've allowed the world to dictate to us what we must and must not do. And that is what gets us, my dear ladies, into the rat race. Because so-and-so says I need to do this, or so-and-so says I need to do that. Nope, you do not. You do not. No, your child does not have to participate in every conceivable sport made to man. No, you do not always have to be on the PTA board. No, you do not have to be involved with every function that happens at your church. And no, you do not have to babysit for your friend every weekend of your life, okay? What we have to realize is sometimes, there are legitimate stresses, illnesses, financial struggles, and these can legitimately stress us out. But there are some little things that also stress us out that we can really, really take control of. And it is the very, very many little things that add up to very crazy, stressed out days, okay? So, in closing, I just want to say that, again, the key is to recognize, ladies, when we are on stress overload and to get that control back, okay? If we do not, then others, if we don't control and manage our stress, others will control and manage it for us. Okay? But if we do it ourselves, our lives will be much more, fulfilling. We will have a life, we'll be in a much more blissful place. So lovingly use the word no whenever you can. And, this is an extreme, but stress can be a killer. Okay, we mentioned some of it earlier, but guess what? It can also, we can get so stressed out that it can become quite dangerous. And we can lose ourselves and have a mental breakdown. And listen, it happens. It doesn't mean you're crazy, because I know seen people who have experienced it. But, when the mind and the body can't take any more and you are not taking control of that situation, guess what? The body and the mind shuts down. Hence, you can experience a nervous breakdown. I mean, the pressure can become so great that you can no longer cope. And as a result, everything shuts down on you. And yes, that's an extreme case, but we want to make sure that that doesn't happen because it happens. It happens, okay, women? So make sure that you don't get to that point. I think that the best solution for us is to take responsibility for our stress levels, take control of our stress levels, use the word no when we need to. Do not allow society to pressure us into doing so many things that our schedules are on constant overdrive. And ultimately, to ask the Lord to give you wisdom, because sometimes we get caught up and it's hard to even realize when all of this craziness is going on. So, you should never, ever, ever put yourself in a position to live a consistently stressful lifestyle. And I'm going to say this as it relates to Christmas, because, we're in Christmas season now, and all of us are in Christmas mode. Y'all ain't even calling into the show where y'all so busy out there shopping, buying your stuff, right? So I just want to say to you, remember the real reason for the season. It is the birth of Christ, and this signifies love and celebration. And we don't want to get so caught up in all the trappings. And don't get me wrong, because I got my Christmas tree, I got my decorations, I'll be buying all my food. I love it. Spending time with family and friends, those are great. But don't get so caught up in all the trappings that you really, really lose the real meaning. And as a result, you don't enjoy yourself. Because at the end of the day, that is what God intends. This is a celebratory time of year, and we don't need to make it stressful for ourselves. Don't stress yourself out spending what you don't have. Spend what you have. Don't stress yourself out going too much things. Go where you could go. Schedule yourself. Don't stress yourself out thinking the kids got to do A, B, C, do A. Take control and make a conscious effort so that you can enjoy yourself. And not cooking. Listen, ladies, you ain't got to be in the kitchen all Christmas either. All right? You ain't got to be in the kitchen all Christmas, okay? You just need to do what makes you comfortable so that you can enjoy yourselves the same way that everyone else is, okay? And seek God's guidance and wisdom. Ultimately, that's what we need to do, because God gives us everything we need in that Bible. And if we really, really hold his word close to our heart and study it, you'll be surprised at the revelations he just brings to you, to allow you to live that great fulfillment life, So I just want to say, Merry Christmas. This is our last show for the year. God's willing, I will see you back here in 2016. We will resume again in January. So I'm off to eating my ham and my turkey, putting on my 5 pounds, and then coming here in January and telling you how we can all lose that weight. Okay, but Merry Christmas. Remember the reason for the season, and I pray God's blessings on you and your family. Just want to say a shout out to my sponsors. I almost forgot. And I just want to say thank you, Simply the Best, for your belief in this show. Thank you for your support, Simply the Best, over there in the Mayport building. Please check them out for all those video conversions, those video jobs, those commercials being produced. And then we have Hair Dimensions. And ladies, go to Hair Dimensions on Coral Road if you're looking for your Remy or your wigs or your cosmetics, whatever it is you need, ladies, they have it. And finally, a shout out to B&B Galaxy. Thank you for supporting us. And for those of you that are looking for Johnny on the Spots or Elite Portable Toilets, or if you need your residence or your commercial property pumped, then check B&B Galaxy. So thank you very much for tuning in to Woman to Woman. This is your host, Chrishna Bowe. And this Christmas season, be blessed, my listeners. Be blessed.